Sonic is the selling point of the Sega Genesis. Sonic is the selling point of the Genesis Mini. There needs to be something better than Sonic 3D Blast and the scuffed Genesis fucking version of Sonic CD. The mobile port will always be the definitive port. The Sega CD port is shit. Today we are going to be talking about Sega, and the reason why we are going to be talking about them is because they are actually going to be releasing the Sega Genesis Mini again. Now, Sega is calling this the Sega Genesis Mini 2, but really, it's just a more beefed up version of the OG Sega Genesis Mini. And the reason why it's beefed up is to play Sega Genesis games and Sega CD games. There are some games on there that are like Sega CD ports of Genesis games, that being the Echo the Dolphin Sega CD game. So I guess they wanted to have that extra bit of power for the Sega CD games, or hell, what game is it? Night Trap. Night Trap will definitely need that extra bit of power because it has like full motion video cutscenes, like a shit ton of cutscenes.
Yeah, definitely looks like it would.
So this device is coming out in North America and Japan. It's under a different name in Japan because the console was named differently. And in America, it is going to be selling for $100. And for some reason, you can only buy it on Amazon, which is really weird because you think that Christmas season's coming along, you want to be able to get it in store as an impulse buy for a Christmas present. But no, Sega doesn't give a shit. They're just putting it on Amazon, of all places, so it can be scalped immediately. And now you can't even get it anywhere else if anyone would even bother scalping this.
Yeah. It's really weird to me because I'm pretty sure I got my Genesis Mini just because I randomly found it in a store. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this. So it seems really weird that they're making it so you have to go out of your way to look it up. Because I didn't know the Genesis Mini existed back when I first got it. But I thought it was cool. And putting this just on Amazon exclusively seems like a really poor choice.
So basically, the intentions of this new Sega Genesis Mini is for you to own two Sega Genesis Minis, because all the games on here are games that weren't on the first one. And I think that's a very bad idea, because you can't expect people to go out and buy these over and over again. What they should have done is include all the games from first time, at least the ones that Sega owned, and then add on these other games to this one, so you have more of a reason to buy the new version of the console.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a better way to go about it than the way that they are, because honestly, the way that they are going about it just doesn't seem like a good idea. Seems like people would just skip over it, or just get the first one and hack it, and just put all the games on that one.
I was actually going to bring that up. You don't even need to get this if you already own a Sega Genesis Mini, because as far as we can tell, the only thing that makes this unique is they're getting special games ported to it from the arcade, some from home computers, some old abandonware games, put onto this as like a bonus. And this seems to be the strategy that all these consoles have been doing since the SNES Mini had Star Fox 2 on it. They want to put in exclusive games so they can be like, well, you can't emulate this. We don't have the ROM publicly available.
Yeah, seems like it, but it's just kind of dumb.
The last Sega Genesis Mini had 40 games. This one's going to have 50 games. But of all the 50 games, I have a short list of the ones that you should give a shit about. So, Bonanza Bros, Clay Fighter, Earthworm Jim 2, Fatal Fury 2, Golden Axe 2, Outrun, Phantasy Star 2, Rise Star, Splatterhouse 2, Streets of Rage 3, Super Hang-On, Super Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers, The Ooze, Revenge of Shinobi, Toe Jam and Earl, Panic and Funkatron, Vector Man 2, Virtua Racing, Echo the Dolphin, Sega CD version, Echo Tides and Times, Sega CD version, Final Fight CD, Night Trap, and Sonic CD. Those are all the games that I noticed that were actually worth talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think Lightning Force Quest for Darkness looks kind of interesting, but I don't actually know much about that game either.
The thing is, I don't know much about any of these games. I don't know much about any of the new games they're putting onto it, and I don't really care to look into it. I'm sure someone out there is like, fuck yeah, this game. I've been waiting for this.
Hi, let's go.
For the most part, it's a bunch of forgettable games, and the last one had 4 Sonic games, technically only 2, but it had a couple of bonus games. But this one only has 2 Sonic games on it, that being Sonic CD and Sonic 3D Blast. So, no Master System Sonic games, even though we haven't gotten a Master System Mini. No fucking Knuckles Chaotix, nothing. Like, you couldn't add Knuckles Chaotix, but because you don't have a little Sega 32X lock-on, you can't do that. And that's one of the cool things that's coming with this console, at least in Japan. I don't know if it's coming to America, is that you actually have a little plastic Sega CD lock-on that you can lock onto the console, and it has Sonic CD in it. Doesn't really do anything. It's just there. Looks kind of cool. I like it. There's also supposed to be like an arcade stick coming out in Japan. I don't know if that's going to come here. Who knows?
It'd be cool, but kind of doubt it. It's weird that they don't have more Sonic games on there, because honestly, that's what I know Sega best for, and that's the biggest seller reason as to why I would buy one of these. I'm not going to lie.
Well, the reality of it is that with the Sega Genesis collections out there, with the Sonic Origins collection that just came out, there are plenty of ways to play these games already. You need to give someone a reason to want to buy this. Like, if you threw in some Sonic Master System games, throw in Knuckles Chaotix, something to show that this is different and this is bold and new, rather than being like, here's some old arcade games and some abandonware we're just gonna fucking toss on here. Like, I appreciate trying to do something different, but Sonic is the selling point of the Sega Genesis. Sonic is the selling point of the Genesis Mini. There needs to be something better than Sonic 3D Blast and the scuffed Genesis fucking version of Sonic CD. The mobile port will always be the definitive port. The Sega CD port is shit. Sorry. The original is shit.
Damn. No love for the no love for the Genesis port.
I've played the original Sonic CD, and it is terrible. The load times are bad. The music compression is bad. The fucking, the gameplay is slow and choppy. I hated it. I absolutely hated the original Sonic CD. I don't know why some people consider it a hidden gem.